If there are not at least a number of people that get implicated in this, people want blood. And if he doesn't give it, they're going to be upset.
Are you okay, little bro? My God.
I mean, I'm really glad to see that, he's using his, investigative reporting skills on something.
Just to be clear, all CoffeeZilla is doing is reading the same mainstream media that Asmongold is too stupid, lazy, and incompetent to read himself, and then accuses of all being biased. Every single thing that CoffeeZilla has said has just come from him, and I'm not taking anything away from CoffeeZilla, he's a smart guy, but he's just reading the mainstream reporting on this. This is the streamer holocaust. You give him a book, and you give him some paper, and then you give him a loaded gun, and you say, here's your choice. 1 hour of reading every day or yourself. And 95% of streamers and YouTubers that cover the news would be dead.
The Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, that's...
Asmongold has a react to this video. There's no way they already got Asmongold to switch sides, right? This changes everything, ... Everyone should know about this, ... Oh, is this where August gets his titles from?
Our president is far more implicated in the Epstein files than we previously thought. This is according to a Wall Street Journal article. The Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, that's old news. We knew he was in the flight logs. We knew he was in these phone records.
Knew that.
But that's not what we're talking about. Those were already public. Jeffrey's Black Book, that was already out there. This is a new review of documents that we're talking about. We're going to go through all of it. And we're going to start with Trump actually being asked directly if he was told by his attorney general whether he was mentioned in the Epstein files, and he says, no.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing.
So there we have Trump denying being told that his name was in the Epstein files, but a lot of people were wondering, well, then why are you acting so weird with these files?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
It's pretty boring stuff. They were made
He
up.
is acting weird, bro. Like, if he's not guilty, he's sure doing a good job acting like he's guilty. He's doing a great job acting like he's guilty.
By Obama.
Luckily, we unearthed an interview where Trump actually hints to the fact that he was in fact told that he was in the Epstein files, and it was all fake stuff.
They've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me.
Now, that file review is going to be separate from what we talked about with the flight logs, the Black Book, things like that. According to the Wall Street Journal, when the Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents...
He's extremely biased against Trump. Take whatever he says with a grain of salt. I mean, I don't know whether he is or not. I mean, I just think in my opinion, it's not about Trump. Like, it's a lot bigger than Trump. Trump is just like... This is one person. Like, it's an ongoing, it is an indicator of a commutation of justice and like a lack of justice. That's really the problem. That's really the issue. Trump is like one part of that. It's not the main thing.
There's another thing, keep an eye on this. There's this thing that happens where if you talk about something bad for Biden or Kamala, there is it called active voice versus passive voice? Would it be like Biden is doing something bad, Kamala is doing something bad, but then when something bad is happening with Trump, it'll be like, this is bad, or this is a bad thing. There's like a decentering of the responsible party whenever there's something involving Trump. Tom might have even done it, I think, in our debate or our conversation, Tom Bilyeu, I think, where like, if it was Biden, it would be right now, Biden has made inflation really bad. But when it's Trump, it's like right now inflation is like a little high. There's like this passive thing. And Asman is doing it in a more like deliberate manner here where it's like, well, if there is something really bad happening with the Epstein stuff, Trump is just a small piece of it. How? Excuse me. This is a former president and current president of the United States of America. All of these departments are his and his alone to control. How is it anybody but him as the central figure here?
Related to Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times, according to senior administration officials. So, if you remember phase one, right?
Yeah.
Phase one was a big scandal because Pam Bondi released these files, but it turned out that these files were an incomplete list of mostly already released stuff. So what did she actually release? Well, she released the flight log and she released the contact book. Then what happened? Well, Pam Bondi, super embarrassed, reached out to Kat Patel and said, hey, I need a bunch of new files. This is not enough. Give us more. She went on Fox News, started talking about, oh, I've got this truckload of documents that is separate from the flight log, from the Black Book, that we're going to review and release to the American public.
Looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? Yep. So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived.
Will everything else be made public?
It's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know.
So there we clearly see there were...
Total bullshit. Total bullshit.
two separate reviews that happened. First, there's the disclosure in phase one of kind of the stuff everyone knew. And then Pam Bondi goes, oh, we got a truckload of new documents. We're going to review those and release those. And that's the review that flagged a bunch of times that Donald Trump's name appeared in here. And that's when they changed their story. Why is this a big deal? Previously, the appearance in the flight logs and the black book were the only appearances we really had of the president. There were
a lot of people that were in the flight logs that probably weren't implicated in any bad behavior. Like, I don't even understand why this is even being discussed. Like, Jeffrey Epstein was like a massive socialite. He interacted with everybody. It's not like just because he interacted with somebody means that they went to his island to f kids. It's like, it's such a red herring. I don't even understand why it's being discussed. How is it that you have 10,000 hours of footage?
What do you think of the concept politics is war? I heard it years ago, and I can't stop thinking about it these days, how Republicans view politics as civil warfare, basically. Kind of, but no. Politics, because even war, to some extent, has rules, okay? Like, you can't just nuke everybody because you're unhappy with how a certain conflict is going, because people realize that there's some level of mutually assured destruction there. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that, like, even in World War I and II, there could have been way more usage of, like, chemical weapons and gas attacks and stuff, but in general, people just didn't really engage in it that much because they were worried about the other side doing it a ton. And that there was just kind of like this unwritten rule of like, maybe we should just kind of like chill a little bit on this shit. Politics in the United States is like if one side was allowed to do whatever they want and the other side wasn't. That's what, like, the asymmetry is the thing I'm going to keep harping on over and over again. Like, you just, like, the asymmetry is just unhinged. That it can't be that way, which is why I'm going to make one kiddie fucking joke every single day until Republicans admit that they're unhinged. Okay. Did I make one yesterday? Yeah, I did. Okay. I'll think of another one for today.
But you're not able to identify anybody in that footage.
Nothing else related to Trump there. It's also notable because Senator Dick Durbin said that the FBI was explicitly instructed to flag Trump's name if it came up in the files.
Attorney General's pressure on FBI to quickly review and produce more Epstein documents as promised. These officials were told to, quote, flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned.
Right. They had a new review where thousands of FBI agents combed through these things, flagging the president's name anywhere it appeared in this truckload of new documents.
It's like, for a and here's what's so weird to me about this is that, like, Epstein died in 2019. That means that Trump had over a year to, like, get rid of any of this stuff. So by the time that Biden took office in 2021, anything that was super incriminating could have been already removed. He died? I mean, I think he died. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Whether he killed himself or somebody killed him, I'm pretty sure he's dead, right? I mean, do people think he's alive now?
And that is what we're talking about here. These are new revelations, new pieces of evidence about our president's possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, what are these files? That's what we all want to know, right? Unfortunately, it's being heavily covered up and heavily blocked. Obviously, one answer is the Wall Street Journal's prior reporting on this letter that Trump supposedly, allegedly wrote to Epstein, which talks about a secret that they both share. It's worth noting that the president said he was going to and then did sue the Wall Street Journal over this. He's seeking $10 billion about this. But
I don't know. Like, I didn't really cover that. It's hard to say. I mean, if he's automatically coming out guns blazing suing them, like, I probably assume the letter's bullshit. But I mean,
why? How many people has Trump sued so far that have said bad things about him? Why is it that if the FBI suggested that Twitter ban accounts that were Russian or Chinese bots, why do you assume the FBI is in the wrong? But if Donald Trump comes out with a personal civil suit against somebody, you assume that Donald Trump is right. Why would you give so much credit to one side and not the other?
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to find out.
The most interesting thing about the case is that the Wall Street Journal, its original claim was that this birthday book letter was all in the DOJ's possession earlier.
Yeah, somebody says Trump's name appeared has no meaning beyond optics. We don't know squat. It's just red meat for the rabble. I think you're totally right. I think that they're intentionally leaving it to be opaque and abstract on purpose in order to bait people into coming to the conclusion that his name appearing in the Epstein files implies guilt. I think that's very clearly what they're doing. Like, mainstream media, clever, it's not really. It's just, it's basic, like, surface level manipulation. But I think it works with most people.
But not Asmon. He's smarter. He's seen through all of it.
Truckload of new evidence, unless it was destroyed. And so one of the best ways to disprove or prove the existence of this thing would just be opening up the Epstein files.
Exactly.
Part of the reason it's so sketchy that they're not doing it. If you're saying that this reporting is false, if you're saying that this birthday book did not exist, then why not just release the files where this birthday letter was supposedly contained? In fact, in this story, we actually have breaking news. Epstein's victim's lawyer now says that the estate of Epstein are actually in possession of this birthday book containing Trump's letter.
Nux said something similar in his vid covering the South Park episode, claiming that Trump won all of his lawsuits, including the CBS one for manipulating. Nux is literally he is the neo-Nazi meme of like the Israeli Jew who has more concern for the country of Israel than for the United States. So that's not surprising at all. I don't even think he lives in the U.S. anymore. Yeah, no shit, he supports Trump.
And would be willing to turn it over to authorities. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Possession of that birthday book. The executors of this date are in possession of that book.
So already, if true, not only is that a kill...
Oh, wait a minute. That's two separate things. He said they're in possession of the book. Does that mean the letter is in the book? This is the kind of language. See, this is the kind of that people get away with because nobody knows English anymore. Every single time they use these words, and these people are not stupid, but they think that you're stupid, and that's why they talk like this.
Shot to this lawsuit, it also proves that there's new mentions of our president in the Epstein files, which are now being covered up. Another big part of this cover-up story has been our government literally shutting down early.
It was a book of letters that were all written to Epstein for his birthday, right? Isn't that what the guy was talking about?
To avoid a vote.
Shut it down.
On the release of the Epstein files. This is because there were a bunch of representatives ready to vote actually in a bipartisan way on the release of the Epstein files. And a lot of Republicans...
Which, by the way, one of the guys, Ro Khanna, I think that's his name, who was like trying to tack on the Epstein release onto some bullshit crypto bill. I criticized that pretty heavily. But then afterwards, he came up with his own separate legislation that was supported by also, I think, Thomas Massie as well. And to have it released as an independent line item. And I totally support that. I think that I don't like the tacking on bullshit to a bill in order to try to score political points, in order to like, oh, well, there's this massive defense bill spending, but there's also cancer kid research. So if you decline it, then you hate kids with cancer. Like, that's obviously manipulation, and it shouldn't work that way. But at the same time, I do think all of the information should be released. In my opinion, I think release everything. Release everything. And the only reason why I think that they shouldn't is if they have genuine 100% certainty that it was altered or something was inaccurate and made to be inaccurate.
Splintered off from the party line of not releasing it, backing the president. Speaker Mike.
I mean, again, like Biden withheld it for 4 years. Trump withheld it for 1 year whenever he was the president the first time. Like, this isn't like this is
not Trump's issue. This is bipartisan. Both sides are the same.
It's a partisan issue because Trump made it a partisan issue by running on it and talking about it a lot, and then putting people in his cabinet that were adamant about releasing it, like Kash Patel, and also even J.D. Vance said to release it, his vice president, on Theo Von's podcast. So, like, it's not a partisan issue, but Trump has made it a partisan issue.
Wow.
Johnson, because he was fearing this, announced he was cutting short the week's legislative business and sitting the House home early for the summer to avoid having to hold votes on releasing the files. I can't think of something more sick than stonewalling the release of files related to a trafficker to try to protect the people implicated in it. I can't think of something more disgusting, except for the hypocrisy that it also represents, because previously, the same guy went on Benny Johnson's show, a conservative commentator, and said he was totally open to releasing the files and would vote on it.
Subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support.
We saw this.
For transparency, we're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well.
I don't.
We should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
Right. We should trust the American people until it's time to release it and actually vote on it. Yes. And then you shut everything down early to avoid it. Now, later, Mike Johnson came out and said he doesn't want to be lectured on transparency by the Democrats who didn't release the files when they were in power. And you see a similar line coming from the White House about this.
Democrats have now seized on this as if they ever wanted transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, which is an fine suggestion for any Democrat to make.
Now, to this, I just have to say, yeah, they're scoring political points.
Do you think he's using AI to censor the videos? Did she say asinine and it automatically censored ass? What do you think she said?
Fine suggestion. Have now seized on this as if they ever wanted transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, which is an fine suggestion for any Democrat to make.
Now, to this, I just have to say, yeah, they're scoring political points now, saying release the files, just like you guys scored political points when you were the party that wasn't in power.
We need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
But the people who actually care about this issue, we just want the files out. So you know what?
This is what's so weird about it, is that, like, I don't care about whether it's Democrats or Republicans that are implicated at all. I just want the files released, and I want the people that are in the files to be investigated. And I agree with whoever that guy, I think it was Tim Burchett, one of the congressmen here. He said we should hang him. I like that. That sounds like a really good idea.
An easy way you can prevent having the other side score political points by saying, hey, release the files. You can actually do it. Instead, we have a bunch of performative stuff like this from AG Pam Bondi and the president, where right after the reporting on the birthday letter about Trump and Epstein's supposed secret, all of a sudden, like a snap, Pam Bondi comes out and goes, oh, we got to...
Here's why, by the way, here's one of the reasons why I think it's kind of bullshit about the birthday letter, is that it wasn't a secret. It wasn't a secret at all. It was obvious that Jeffrey Epstein was getting it on with young girls. Trump just said it. So how the fuck is this a secret that they're whispering about whenever he's saying it in interviews?
We got to unseal the grand jury transcripts, despite knowing that there's almost zero chance of that happening. And of course, today we find out that it was denied because they had literally no grounds to do it. It's like not something courts do for a public interest. In fact, the irony of that whole stunt to pretend to be transparent was that the Epstein survivors, which supposedly these people care about so much, were not told, they were not informed that this grand jury information was going to be unsealed. So ironically, despite saying that they want to protect the survivors of Epstein, what they really want to protect are the third parties implicated in all of this, which is why they won't release.
They want to protect their own interests.
The Epstein files they could release right now,
100%.
which is all in their possession, these thousands of documents that they have. In fact, the attempts to distract from the real issue of the Epstein files not being released, the cover-up that's clearly happening, it's actually been breathtaking. In fact, it compelled Trump to release 230,000 pages of documents on MLK's assassination, which I guess is fine.
That's good, but like, what about the whole fucking, like, an island, right? I mean, like, that's good. And hey, by the way, again, I said complaining about this and malding works, right? We've been malding, it's been working. Keep malding.
Can you
the files could be fabricated? Well, yeah, you're going to have to cross-reference them and verify their authenticity.
Nothing has been released. What can you cross-reference them with?
Yeah, of course.
Is the conspiracy now? Why are all the conspiracies revealed decades later when we can't hold anyone accountable? But at the time the conspiracies may be happening.
You just answered your question.
All of a sudden it's, oh, well, no, we can't possibly do that. Now, there's another performative thing you should be aware of, and that's the meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell that's supposedly going to happen.
This happened today. We're going to talk about that after this.
They're going to actually talk to Ghislaine directly. Quote, I have communicated with the counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. This is confirmed by Maxwell's attorney, who says, I can confirm we are in discussions with the government and that Ghislaine will always testify truthfully. We are grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in his case. Why is this deeply concerning? Because the idea had been floated that there would be a public testimony to Congress under oath by Maxwell. But this is not that. This is a private meeting with the same people who have been sweeping this issue under the rug the entire time. And what is Ghislaine really focusing on? What is she actually trying to get? She's trying to get immunity. We already know she's trying to get the president's attention and say, hey, you guys kind of screwed me. You wouldn't want to be seen as, not being a man of your word. We've seen those like vaguely threatening public statements by Maxwell. So what exactly are they going to get out of this? She's totally incentivized to clear everyone from this administration rather than get the truth out. Now
He brings up a great point. And logically, there's no way that I can say that isn't true, especially if it's only being done by one party. I think he's right about this. That's true.
Crazy.
We have inside information on this because recently a bunch of world leaders have been meeting with not journalists, but podcasters to talk about the world affairs of the day. Podcaster Tim Dillon talks about his dinner with what turns out to later be J.D. Vance and some other people where they discussed the affairs of Epstein and stuff like that. And he floats the idea of Maxwell testifying.
Ghislaine must speak. She should testify before Congress.
Yeah.
A couple of the people at the dinner, again, it was a small dinner, 3 or 4 people.
As I said, my dream scenario. Trump makes mandatory attendance every member of the Senate and Congress.
Dear President Trump.
He has her testify in front of all of them. And before she starts, he locks the doors. And as she reads out the names, the police come in and they escort every person out of the room as she reads their names. Totally like Saddam Hussein style. Yep, the Saddam strat. That's right. That would be fucking insane. And hey, that would be crazy content, right? Insane content.
They said that is not on the table at the moment, but it's not impossible. Nobody's super jazzed about it.
So the administration appears to have told Tim Dillon in a private meeting that, yeah, we really don't love the idea of her testifying. But apparently they love the idea of meeting her privately to talk to her behind closed doors where we can't know what is said. Speaking to the only person who's ever been punished at all for Epstein's crimes and whose only incentive is to her.
I think that it's true that you shouldn't take her testimony as a fact. Like, you shouldn't listen to what she's saying, like, 100% and be like, okay, this is absolutely true and she's totally telling the truth. I think there's a good chance that she's lying about a lot of what she's going to say. Really, it's not about necessarily what she's saying. It's about where she tells you to look, if that makes sense.
God, he's so smart.
Yes. For all of this. So I honestly think this is a terrible idea. I think it's more of the same cover up. Until they release these files, they're finished. And interestingly, Tim Dillon, the guy at this dinner with the administration, actually said as much.
I think if they do not release everything they have, they are done. If they do not release, and I told them that, you need to release.
More than that, human sacrifices.
Jesus Christ, bro.
If someone doesn't, if there are not at least a number of people that get implicated in this, the public bloodthirst will not be sated. There is a public bloodthirst for this. People want blood. And if he doesn't give it, they're going to be upset.
Show is literally.
Are you okay, little bro? My God.
Am I wrong?
Everything you have.
Yeah, of course. Doesn't
Blood
take
for
a
the blood
political analyst to tell you you need to release the file. But of course, that seems to be the one thing they refuse to do. They'll do anything. They'll release MLK files. They'll probably tell you that aliens exist just to avoid releasing the Epstein files. And that is the actually most incriminating part of all of this. It has been the reaction, not the files themselves, that has made this look so bad. The unhinged response to just simple demands for following up on their word, saying they were going to release the Epstein files. Then it's, we looked.
We found the public sacrifices on both sides, too. I think we need as many as possible.
president's name a bunch, and now we're not going to show you what's in there. That makes us all assume the worst about what's actually in here. So ultimately, look, I just believe we should get transparency. Obviously, there's a lot we don't know here, but a lot that has also been coming out, and it all paints a much darker picture than we previously knew.
When you click pay info, I think that it's obvious that Trump is implicated in some way. I would be willing to believe that Trump had an idea that it was going on. I would not be immediately willing to believe that Trump was doing it himself. I would require more proof than that. But I do think that in the same way that everybody in Hollywood knew about Harvey Weinstein, everybody in music knew about Diddy, I bet everybody in this echelon knew about Jeffrey Epstein. I bet they all kind of knew that it was happening, but it was kind of like a hush-hush, let's not talk about this type situation. So, I would need more proof than that. And I don't think that them saying his name being in the files is problematic. But Coffee bringing up the fact that the FBI was directed to say if his name was in the files or not to him implies that, why would you do that if you weren't guilty? Trump knows that the public doesn't give a damn about the truth. There's the video. I've been watching CoffeeZilla's videos about this topic a lot. I mean, I'm really glad to see that, he's using his, investigative reporting skills on something. I mean, like as much as
Just to be clear, all CoffeeZilla is doing is reading the same mainstream media that Asmongold is too stupid, lazy, and incompetent to read himself, and then accuses of all being biased. Every single thing that CoffeeZilla has said has just come from him. And I'm not taking anything away from CoffeeZilla. He's a smart guy. But he's just reading the mainstream reporting on this. That's where all of the information is coming from. So I like how Asmongold thinks he's got some like super huge line into the Trump admin. And CoffeeZilla's like on the grounds of the Capitol, digging around through his actual White House connected sources, trying to scrounge up secret information. It's all just reading like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times reporting on this. He's so fucking stupid. Holy shit.
Crypto scams matter, right? I mean, I think this is a much bigger scam.
Can we just get like some podcast bro to like memorize the 5 leading like WAPO, New York Times, and Wall Street Journal stories for the day, and then come on and like present them in like a bro way so that fucking retards like Asmongold can look at it and go, oh yeah, like I can tell this guy actually knows what's going on. He's got a beat on things. Like this is a smart dude. Like I don't trust the lamestream media, but this guy really knows what's up. Like holy shit.
And it's a much bigger issue, right? And so, yeah, there we go. You watch his last one. I might look at it tomorrow, right? I mean, we're going with these one at a time, but this is the one that I've seen so far. And this is, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, make sure to give the video a like and give him a sub. I like this guy a lot. And I've been watching him for quite a while. This isn't even an investigation. It's just tabloid journalism. It's tabloid journalism. Yeah.
Oh, so someone in chat even called it out. I wouldn't call it tabloid, but...
Oh, well, tabloid journalism is better than cover-ups, isn't it? So if you don't want to have tabloid journalism, then maybe you should release the files and set the record straight. Problem solved. I'll be right back. It would be crazy, though, if they announced that there were aliens to distract people from this. The funny thing is, I think it would work. Anyway, so this is what happened today. They did interview her.
The intelligence community assessed.
So why wouldn't they try to get Trump elected? Simple. It's because if they interfered in the election, it would be too high risk of an action, and it would cause too much blowback if it was discovered.
I just want to die. What does he think? What does he think? This isn't even like a debated topic. Like people don't even seriously debate this. Did Russia interfere in our election? That's not a real topic that people debate. Like there are literally indictments out for people that are directly implicated with this. Like,
they also might not have had the technology or the ability to do it with.
What? They didn't have computers? They didn't have the internet in Russia in 2016?
100% certainty to get away with it. And it's unpredictable.
Bro, I actually can't.
That's the reason why. Yeah, like, I mean, again, and so that's the same reason why Putin released it so naive. No, you're actually the one that's naive because you're not thinking about this. You're thinking about this one step ahead. There's a reason why Putin has been in charge of Russia for like 30 years. It's because he's extremely intelligent. He's brutal, cunning, and I just think it's crazy how many people that he doesn't like that end up dying. Isn't that weird? How does that happen? Yeah, he's an ex-KGB agent. Like, he's not stupid at all. And so anyway, like, basically, the reason why he didn't release the negative stuff about Hillary Clinton is because he was worried that there's a chance or a probability that it could also galvanize the public against Russia because they could see Russia as now attacking Hillary Clinton, and then it could have the opposite effect. Whereas if he released it when she was president, it would have a guaranteed effect of negatively impacting her. And also he could use that for leverage later on down the road against her directly. Whereas whenever she's not the president, you can't use that for leverage. Bullshit. No, it's not bullshit.
For one day, I just need to cover some shit. I just need to cover I just need to watch some shit that's just totally, I'm just retarded on, and then I just need to give the most accurate, no, not accurate, the most confident takes. Like, how can you be this confidently like on, I don't even have words for this.
It's not bullshit. It's common sense. Like, just think about it. Think about it. Never play a card unless you have to. Yeah, it's an ace up the sleeve. Yeah, you never go and do that. Yeah, it's blackmail 101. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm surprised that so many people, a lot of people don't understand anything beyond basic cause and effect. And even that's hard for people to understand. But there are oftentimes decisions that people make where they lose a battle to win a war. And I think that's very clearly what his perspective is. Yeah, it's wasteful playing it early. You need to ban these idiots. They're doing this on purpose to distract. I just think that people don't understand the way that you make decisions this way, right?
Yeah,
Why are you surprised? Do you understand actual subversion? I think I do. I think that I have a better understanding of it than most people, at least.
Yeah.
I don't think I understand it as well as Putin does, but based off of what his decisions were, it seems like they made sense based off of my understanding of subversion. It does. I spent a lot of time on the internet, playing games, dealing with people in business with stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not a wizard. Like, there's people that know a lot more about it than I do, but I bet if you ask them, they'd say the same thing I am.
Like, does he think that all of this is fake? That all of these indictments, this is a hamstring investigation even, and we still found so much. For example, on or about March 19, 2016, Lukashev and his co-conspirators created and sent a spear phishing email to the chairman of the Clinton campaign. Lukashev used the account John356GH and an online service that abbreviated lengthy website addresses, referred to as URL shortening service. Lukashev used the account to mask a link contained in the spear phishing email, which directed the recipient to a GRU-created website. Lukashev altered the appearance of the sender email address in order to make it look like an email from a security notification from Google, a technique known as spoofing, instructing the user how to change his password by clicking the embedded link. Those instructions were followed. On or about March 21st, 2016, Lukashev, Yermakov, and their co-conspirators stole the contents of the chairman's email account, which consisted of over 50,000 emails, hacking into the DCC network. Does he think it's all fake? Or he doesn't believe, the reality is he doesn't even know this exists. He probably doesn't know this entire investigation existed. Like, it's just like it's all out here. It's all available for consumption. Defendant Internet Research Agency, LLC, is a Russian organization engaged in political and electoral interference operations. In or around July of 2013, the organization registered with the Russian government as a Russian corporate entity. Beginning in or around June 2014, the organization obscured its conduct by operating through a number of Russian entities, including Internet Research LLC, Media Syntez LLC, Glavset LLC, MixInfo LLC, Asma, blah, blah, blah. Starting in or around 2014, the organization occupied an office at 55 Savushkina Street in St. Petersburg, Russia. That location became one of the organization's operational hubs from which defendants and other co-conspirators carried out their activities to interfere in the U.S. political system, including the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The organization employed hundreds of individuals for its online operations, ranging from creators of fictitious personas to technical and administrative support. The organization's annual budget totaled the equivalent of millions of U.S. dollars. The organization was headed by a management group and organized into departments, including a graphics department, a data analysis department, a search engine optimization department, an information technology department to maintain the digital infrastructure used in organization's operations, and a finance department to budget and allocate funding. The organization sought in part to conduct what it called information warfare against the United States of America through fictitious U.S. personas on social media platforms and other internet-based media. It's all out here. Like, it's just so... In or around the later half of 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators through their organization-controlled personas began to encourage U.S. minority groups not to vote in the 2016 U.S. presidential election or to vote for a third-party U.S. presidential candidate. On or about October 16th, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used the organization-controlled Instagram account, Woke Blacks, to post the following message. A particular hype and hatred for Trump is misleading the people and forcing blacks to vote Hillary. We cannot resort to the lesser of two evils. Then we'd surely be better off without voting at all. On or around November 3rd, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators purchased an advertisement to promote a post on the organization-controlled Instagram account, Blacktivist, that read in part, "Choose peace and vote for Jill Stein. Trust me, it's not a wasted vote." By in or around November 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used the organization-controlled United Muslims of America social media account to post anti-vote messages such as, "American Muslims are boycotting elections today. Most of the American Muslim voters refuse to vote for Hillary Clinton because she wants to continue the war on Muslims in the Middle East and voted yes for invading Iraq." On or around or about August 4th, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators began purchasing advertisements that promoted a post on the organization-controlled Facebook account Stop AI. The post alleged that Hillary Clinton has already committed voter fraud during the Democrat Iowa caucus. That one account that we used to fight with or look at a long time ago, around 2016, at 10_GOP, that was a Russian-ran account. This had like 250,000 followers on Twitter, by the way, like 10 years ago. Defendants and their co-conspirators posted that allegations of voter fraud were being investigated in North Carolina on the organization-controlled Twitter account at 10_GOP. On or about November 2nd, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used the same account to post allegations of hashtag voter fraud by counting tens of thousands of ineligible mail-in Hillary votes being reported in Broward County, Florida. Political advertisements included the following. So to pay for political advertisements, defendants and their co-conspirators established various Russian bank accounts and credit cards, often registered in the names of fictitious U.S. personas created and used by the organization on social media. Defendants and their co-conspirators also paid for other political advertisements using PayPal accounts. You know, a great number of black people support us saying that hashtag Hillary Clinton is not my president. I say no to Hillary Clinton / I say no to manipulation. Join our hashtag Hillary Clinton for prison 2016. Donald wants to defeat terrorism, ... Hillary wants to sponsor it. Vote Republican, vote Trump, and support the Second Amendment. Hillary Clinton doesn't deserve the black vote. Trump is our only hope for a better future. Hashtag never Hillary. Hashtag Hillary for prison. Hashtag Hillary for prison. Hashtag Hillary for prison 2016. Hashtag Trump 2016. Hashtag Trump. Hashtag Trump for president. Ohio wants Hillary for prison. Staging U.S. political rallies in the United States. In or around August of 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used false U.S. personas to communicate with Trump campaign staff involved in local community outreach about the Florida Goes Trump rallies. Defendants and their co-conspirators purchased advertisements on Facebook and Instagram to promote the Florida Goes Trump rallies. Defendants and their co-conspirators also used fake U.S. personas to contact multiple grassroots groups supporting then-candidate Trump in an unofficial capacity. Many of these groups agreed to participate in the Florida Goes Trump rallies and serve as local coordinators. After the election of Donald Trump in or around November of 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used false U.S. personas to organize and coordinate U.S. political rallies in support of then-President-elect Trump, while simultaneously using other false U.S. personas to organize and coordinate U.S. political rallies protesting the results of the 2016 U.S. presidential election. For example, in or around November 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators organized a rally in New York through one organization-controlled group designed to, quote, show your support for President-elect Donald Trump, end quote, held on or about November 12, 2016. At the same time, defendants and their co-conspirators, through another organization-controlled group, organized a rally in New York called, quote, Trump is not my president, end quote, held on or about November 12, 2016. Similarly, defendants and their co-conspirators organized a rally entitled, quote, Charlotte against Trump, end quote, in Charlotte, North Carolina, held on or about November 19, 2016. This was just on the group that Mueller found. I would permaban this guy if he was on my platform. It's actually, he's so fucking retarded. Like, can't you you should have to sit down. This would be you want the streamer holocaust? You know what it would be? Here's how this is the streamer holocaust. You give him a book and you give him some paper and then you give him a loaded gun and you say, here's your choice. 1 hour of reading every day or yourself. And 95% of streamers and YouTubers that cover the news would be dead in 2 days. It's unbelievable. Like, this stuff is out here everywhere. It's so easy to read. It's like, it's such a joke. And then instead we get Asmongold, okay, the fucking Roach King, to tell us through common sense about how it would be impossible to ever have any kind of interference in any kind of election. Because I guess Russia didn't have computers in 2013. What do you say? They didn't have the technology for it to send an email?
But based off of what his decisions were, it seems like they made sense based off of my understanding of subversion. It does. I spent a lot of time on the internet, playing games, dealing with people in business with stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not a wizard. Like, there's people that know a lot more about it than I do. But I bet if you ask them, they'd say the same thing I am. Go ask them.
Omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were, quote unquote, planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests.
Yeah.
As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election.
Yep.
On December 5th of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency.
And that's the thing too, is that even if they thought Putin was trying to get Trump elected, they didn't have a reason to, they didn't have a defined reason. It was just like a guess.
What are you talking about? What? Putin watched Gaddafi get raped to death with a bayonet. You don't think this guy didn't hate Hillary Clinton and Obama? He's so fucking stupid. Okay. All right. I'm done. Okay. That's enough Asmongold for today. I can't. I actually can't do it.
Is he mad about me?
Guy, if he was on my platform. It's actually, he's so fucking, like, can't you should have to sit down. This would be, you want the streamer Holocaust? You know what it would be? Here's how you, this is the streamer.
But I'm the one that gets in trouble.
Holocaust. You give him a book and you give him some paper and then, what do you mean, but I'm the one that gets in trouble? I'm literally banned from your platform. What are you talking about? Is he really going to victimize himself in front of me? Are you serious? What? You give him a loaded gun and you say, here's your choice. 1 hour of reading every day or kill yourself. And 95% of streamers and YouTubers that cover the news would be dead in 2 days. It's unbelievable. Like, this stuff is out here everywhere. It's so easy to read. It's like, it's such a joke. And then instead we get Asmongold, okay, the fucking Roach King, to tell us the common sense about how it would be impossible to ever have any kind of interference in any kind of election. Because I guess Russia didn't have computers in 2013 when they didn't have the technology for it.
Yeah, everybody influences everybody's elections. That's never what was asserted. It's that they half of this, and they're doing it in this.
Not everybody does everything. Not every. Oh my God. I don't care.